The first thing we're going to have to do is make sure that our wedge is properly aligned. If we go over here, we have a bolt with one of our Allen wrenches. You can raise and lower the wedge. You can check the height. Once we have the correct wedge height, we are going to look at the depth of the wedge, or how close the wedge is to the weld rollers. Whenever using this adjustment, the wedge is going to come in at an angle and go back at an angle. So that's when we would adjust our toe to square up the wedge. When welding, we want to make sure we have proper roller pressure. Here's the gauge. You turn it one way to increase and the opposite to decrease. We want to make sure we don't have too much pressure. If we have too much, it's going to make your material want to walk out, make it very difficult for the operator. I like to have it about a 1/2 inch of the all thread showing, somewhere in the middle. For all these weld tests, I'm going to keep a few of the variables the same. We're going to keep the speed at 35, and then also keep the weld roller pressure at about halfway up, about in the middle of its adjustment. Right now I have the wedge set a little bit deep into the weld rollers, and then also at 515, so we're probably going to get a pretty hot weld. So you can see it is sticking, but it's not sticking nicely. We are definitely overheating the material, causing it to get very brittle. And you can also see the heat is making it want to warp as well. Not a good bond. I have the temperature set at 330 degrees. This is probably going to be a bit too cool for most acrylics. So we'll see what it does here. With not enough heat going to the tape and the material, you can see how it just pulls right apart. You can also grab the tape and pull the tape off itself. With this test weld, we have the wedge in proper alignment and a good temperature, which is around 435. Now you see, with the proper adjustments and wedge placement, you see how much it is sticking. You can see the little strands pulling against each other as you're trying to peel it apart.
A couple things to remember about acrylic welding. After you do your wedge adjustments and everything is set up perfectly, run a small practice piece. 12 inches, 18 inches, just run a small piece, check your welds. Your darker materials, your hunter greens, your navy blues, your blacks are probably going to take a little more heat or less speed than like a light green or a light blue or a white. Always, always, always do a practice weld and check it. Make sure you're getting a weld before you start any job.